welcome to another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet Podcast. My name is Hannah, and this is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. Happy Thanksgiving if you're in the US. Thanksgiving is tomorrow. Of course, when you're watching this, Thanksgiving will have already happened because I am recording on Wednesday night, and you are not going to see this until Saturday, but it's Thanksgiving week. It's Black Friday week. There's all kinds of stuff going on, and I am super out of breath because I cannot breathe today. The baby is due in 2.5 weeks. What? 2.5 weeks the baby is due, so anytime now it could happen, or late, who knows, but she's taking up all the room in my body and I literally can't breathe. So if I sound like I've been running a marathon this whole episode, I apologize. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't get any air. I have some crochet to talk to you about, a little bit of knitting today, a little bit of happy mail. I will give you a bump date. Could be the last bump date. Who knows? I don't know. If she comes early, it will be the last bump date. Otherwise, you'll get one more podcast episode this year. And yeah, I'm just excited to talk to you. Now, if you're looking for me anywhere on the interweb, you will know the best way to find me is on Instagram. I am the Cozy Cottage Crochet. If you have anything to say about the podcast, questions, comments, concerns, collaborations, anything you want to know, please email me. My email address is thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com. That is set up specifically for this podcast. And we have a Ravelry group. If Ravelry is accessible to you, you can find that link directly down below where we have make-alongs running. Now, I'm also gonna have to take some water breaks because I'm very, very thirsty. Apparently, growing a human, it takes all the liquid out of your body and also all the air of your body and also all the comfort and everything else. I'm counting the days, y'all. I want to just talk about the make-alongs that we have running just in case this is the last episode of the year because you only have until December 31st. We have 3 make-alongs running. The first make-along I'm co-hosting with Claudia of the Crochet Luna podcast. It is the Wizarding Mal 2020. This is a sock and sewing make-along. So you can make pairs of socks. You can make project bags. There's a prompt for each month. And you don't have to make both. If you want to make socks and project bags, that's totally fine. You can make one or the other. You can make both. I have the finished objects thread in my Ravelry group. She has the chatter thread in her Ravelry group. There will be prizes drawn. I've drawn prize every quarter. There will be a prize drawn for the last quarter and a grand prize. But that probably won't happen until mid-January because I'm going to take a little bit of time off after the baby is born. So definitely, I wish I have participated in that more this year. Last year was the year of the sock and I knit 19 pairs of socks. So that's kind of insane. And I was a little bit socked out. And then of course I got pregnant, so I didn't feel like doing anything. And I have not been sewing this year, like at all. So not only did I not sew, I did not knit socks. I think I have knit 2 pairs of socks this year. Gosh, that's like nothing. Nothing. So that's make-along number 1. You have until December 31st to post your finished objects in the thread. In fact, I'm going to give a little bit longer than that. As long as they're done on December 31st, you can post them in the thread up until the next day as well. Just in case you're up till midnight finishing them. The second make-along we have running is the Year of Classics 2020. That is to make things that will actually fit in your wardrobe. This is just an informal make-along. I've been drawing a prize for that every quarter as well. There's just one chatter FO thread in the Ravelry group. And that will be ending on the 31st as well. So make sure you get your makes into the thread, or at least chatter away. That could get you a prize as well. And I have only finished one thing, maybe 2 things for that, because I finished that giant knit shawl that was so like 4 skeins of yarn, fingering weight. And then I also finished my Angela cardigan. So I think I finished 2 things this year for that, even though I had grand plans to finish many more. And finally, we have the Mission Impossible Mal, which I have decided will be ongoing next year because my Mission Impossible Mal project is not finished. So this is also an informal make along. There's a Chatter FO thread, but if you want to be eligible for the prizes for 2020 and have the fourth quarter prize apply to you, you need to have something posted by December 31st. So I'll just be continuing that through 2021 until I decide to quit it. So it's to make anything that challenges you. It could be crochet, knitting, spinning, weaving, dyeing, felting, cross stitch, embroidery, anything that involves fiber arts. Make something that really challenges you, big or small, and post it in the thread, because as we all know, it's one stitch at a time. It's just yarn. You can totally do it. There will be prizes, as I said, for all 3 of those make-alongs, not drawn until the beginning of next year, because I will be a little bit preoccupied. I also wanted to show you, I know I talked in the last episode that I had a sponsor, which is Ana Luisa Jewelry, and they sent me some new pieces for this year, and they had their Black Friday campaign going on. You're going to see this after the Black Friday campaign, but I did want to show you because they came in the mail. So the first one, hopefully you can see this. It is a necklace that says Mama. I generally am not a gold person, honestly, but I have been wearing this a lot. I really like it. And then these, you can barely see them, but they're little safety pin stitch marker earrings. So I have been wearing those a lot as well. And the last piece they sent me, I have worn these twice, I think. They're very cool. They're these earrings that say love. And if you think they look weird, it's because this part is on the front of your ear. This love is behind your ear. So it's like right here. It's really cool. All of their products come in recycled packaging. They come in these little envelopes. This box is made of 100% recycled paper, and all of their gold and silver is recycled gold and recycled silver. So I really, really love them. I really enjoy their pieces, and I'm really excited to wear this. Even though I'm not generally a gold person, maybe I'm on the gold wagon now because of this super cute mama necklace. Well, shall we talk yarn? Because I have some progress to show you. I don't have as much progress as I want because maybe my hands look normal to you. They're kind of swollen. I have officially not made it to the end of pregnancy without getting swollen, and my hands are killing me. Like, especially when I wake up in the morning, my joints hurt, like these 2 fingers especially. I have to like bend them like this and like get them going. It's almost like I have arthritis because my fingers are so swollen. So I'm not crocheting in the morning. Typically I try to get a little bit in before work. I'm not really crocheting at lunch because I've been typing and my fingers hurt. So I've just been doing some at nighttime and trying to take it easy. So I don't know how much I'm going to get done in the next 2 weeks. Hopefully I'll be able to get something done because this is like how I keep my sanity, but my fingers, like right now they're okay. But this morning when I woke up, like this finger especially, I could bend it, but I couldn't make it bend by itself because they were so poofy and inflamed. So I haven't got as much done as I wanted to, but I have 3 crochet projects to show you and 1 knitting. And I'm going to go ahead and get the knitting project out of the way because I haven't done too much on it. It's the one that got the bulk of the attention last time, and it is my Skyrim cardigan. It is living in this giant project bag that was made for me. Ooh, excuse me. I just had a hiccup. It was made for me by my best friend, Caitlin. Hi, Caitlin, if you're watching. And I have finished the sleeve cap shaping. So that's what I'm going to show you. Now, let's see. I know I had joined under the arms last time I showed it to you. This yarn is called my Skyrim Cardigan because the yarn is Skyrim yarn. It is by the lovely Leah of Sheep Happens Yarn Company. She sent me this yarn. There are currently 2 balls of yarn attached to this cardigan, so I'm gonna have to be very careful not to unravel anything. This is the colorway Solitude, this top one. Then we have Winter Hold, this next one that it's fading into, Dawn Star, and then this darker one. Oh gosh, what is the dark one called? I made myself a list. Morthal. So Solitude is the lightest, and these are all named after cities in Skyrim. You can definitely see it here. So Solitude, Dawnstar, Winterhold, and then this getting darker and darker here is Morthal. So I've completely completed the sleeve cap shaping for one sleeve. I had grand plans that I was going to complete. I would have to actually get out of the fourth color on the body so that I could fade into the fourth color on this sleeve so that I could get through the third color on this sleeve. I had grand plans that I was going to get this done before the baby's born, but this has been hurting my hands more than crochet, so I really have not worked on this very much. So this is where I was last time. So I got about an inch where the top of this stitch marker was. Got about an inch on the body. So from the underarms, we have a couple of inches done. This sleeve hole is of course not done at all, but this one, I am now knitting in the round. No more back and forth, as you can see. So I completely finished all of the short rows, which is massively exciting. I think that I started fading the third color a little too soon on this, but I'm definitely not ripping it out. Like, this should be a little lighter right here, because this is where I started fading the third color, and I probably should have waited like another half an inch, but I don't really think you can tell because the fade is so gorgeous. It's just beautiful. And of course, as I discussed last time, I ripped out this sleeve cap 2.5 times because the first time I tried to pick up the number of stitches recommended in the pattern, and it was way too few. Plus I have an extra inch of armhole to work with. I'm making the extra large stitch counts to get the large size measurements because my gauge was a little bit smaller. Then I picked up all the stitches that I wanted, but I had not figured out the math on how to decrease some of these stitches out or how to do the increases. So it would have been like straight, and then wildly go over here, which looked ridiculous. So I ripped that out. So basically what I did is I decreased every other row so that I could get to the right stitch count. Because I picked up 62 stitches, I think, or 62 stitches on each side, which is 151. I know 62 plus 62 is not 151, but there's some extra stitches. So there's 151 total. And she only has you like pick up 45 for the size. So I was like way over. So I had to decrease all of those out while still trying to make this fit my shoulder. And you can see where I stopped decreasing was right here, because it definitely gets, the curve starts like that. But I tried this on after I joined in the round instead of going back and forth, and it fits. I put it on a longer needle. I actually think I need to put it on a shorter needle now. These are my Chowgu red lace. What size is this? This is a 3.5 millimeter needle that I'm using. And these are the shorty, the little blue twist interchangeable set. So this is the longest cable and the 3-inch needles. So it's probably 15 inches, 12 to 15 inches round. I think I would prefer it on a shorter cable. So I'm going to transfer this the next round that I do to maybe like a 9-inch or a 10-inch and shorter tips, and take this needle to this side so that I can try and pick up those stitches. I would at least like to have the stitches picked up before the baby comes, but we'll see if my hands keep being the way they are. That may not happen. So this is my Mission Impossible project. So many impossible things in this project that I'm working on. The yarn is just magical though, and it is going to be probably the most fun thing I've ever made when it's done, and I'm super thrilled and super excited about it. So that's the Skyrim cardigan. Leah from She Happens Yarn. Delightful yarn. I don't know if she has any of those Skyrim sets in her shop or not, but if you beg her, they're 8 skeins, you may be able to talk her into dyeing them for you. So that is project number 1, and the rest are crochet. I'm going to start with one you have not seen before. It is living in my Sheepy Project Bag. This is made from a tea towel that I got in Ireland when my husband and I were there in 2018, and I lined it with just some 4-leaf clover fabric that I got at Joann's. Oh, there's a hat in here. And a crochet hook. I don't know how that happened. I generally do not keep crochet hooks in my project bags, but oh well. What is living in here is all tangled and is a new project. And actually I'm going to pull both of these balls out to show you what is going on, because I did a couple of swatches. So this is Uru Yarn by Knit Crate. It is 100% superwash merino single. It's a single ply, and you get 417 yards for 100 grams. So I had 2 skeins of this. This was a gift from a lovely patron and viewer of this podcast named Amanda, and it's this lovely mint green with speckles of hot pink or like dark purple, depending. So this was my swatch. This I actually did with a 5mm hook. And as you can see, it will be, oh, I'm pulling it out as we speak. I didn't put a stitch marker on that. It's going to be a lace shawl. And I just felt like the gauge was ever so slightly too loose here. I didn't love it. But I wanted to show you the difference between that. This is the second skein. This is a 4.5mm hook. And this. Now, this part, in fact, you can tell from here to here has been blocked because I basically did this first little triangle as a gauge swatch and then did some math to find out how many of these clusters I could get and how big the shawl would get, because I was really concerned that it wouldn't be big enough with only 2 skeins of yarn. And then I was gonna need to rip this out and find a 3rd skein or dig in my stash, get 3 skeins of yarn that will go together to make this. There is no pattern for this. This is a pattern that will be written up by me and come out eventually. I don't have the brain space to write up patterns at the moment, but I did have the brain space to do a swatch and then do some math, and I will have enough yarn with this gauge for a 2 skein project only. So this is the lace. I love, love, love how it looks in a single ply. It is delightful. I love the speckles, and you can see this is what it looks like before blocking. It's kind of all scrunched up together. This is what it looks like after. So this one obviously has not been blocked, but I just thought it was too loosey-goosey. I did not love it with a 5mm hook. So I made it with a 4mm hook, and I just cannot wait. This is so easy. It's a 2-row repeat. It's going to be so, so easy. And so delightful for a 2 skein project. I'm gonna put this away before I drop it because I'm dropping everything at the moment. And this is the project that I have been taking to work with me, although I have not really been crocheting at work. So this was all done in the last 2 weeks on my lunch breaks. As you can see, not very much, because like I said, my hands have been hurting. So close up of the texture again, because I just can't stand it. This will be a delightful summer shawl for Florida, and I think it's going to be pretty big and pretty light and pretty airy. In fact, if I get gauge, the final measurements should be about 50 inches wide by about 33 inches deep. That is pretty good, if I do say so myself. So I have really enjoyed working on this. I needed something small because all of my projects are big right now. I have 3 cardigans on the hook, and that's pretty much it. My whips are very low at the moment. I do have, of course, my sockhead hat and the pair of socks that I got past the toe on, but those are packed in my hospital bag because I need to have knitting to take to the hospital. So there are a pair of socks in the baby's diaper bag, and there's the sockhead hat in my hospital bag. Who knows if I will knit even a stitch at the hospital. I have not a clue, but I have 2 projects waiting, but I don't want to work on them because then if I work on them, I'm going to get obsessed with them and only want to work on them, and I'm not going to have any knitting in the hospital when I give birth to the baby. So I had to start something. Luckily, I had already wound this up a while before, and I knew the direction I was going. So this is project number 1. It has no name, but it will eventually be a summer lace shawl design by yours truly. I'm going to put the hook back in, but not the hat. I don't know why. There's a hat in there. It's not like it's been cold. This is This is just a normal hat that I knit. It's actually mine, so I did probably a 4.5 millimeter needle. I can't quite remember. This is, I don't even know what yarn this is. I want to say it could potentially be Lion Brand Jeans yarn or some kind of Serenity heathered yarn. So I did 4 rows in 2x2 rib on 88 stitches, and then I did, I think, 5 inches of stockinette and then just some decreases. This is my like knock around hat. Speaking of hats, you may notice that I'm wearing one. This is my cotton candy slouch hat pattern. This pattern is $1. It's a way for me to say thank you to you. It has been out for a while now. It will only ever be $1. It will never go up in price. It is super quick to crochet. You can make it in lots of sizes because it's super quick and easy. This is 1 skein of yarn, bulky weight yarn. This is actually made in Fat Bunny yarn, who is Maria, who is a delightful yarn friend in real life and yarn friend on the internet. And she is the dyer behind Fat Bunny yarn. And I love this hat. I love that it's pink and it's delightful. And so many people made this hat. There's not a ton of projects on Ravelry for this hat, but I have gotten so many messages from people who make this hat especially to donate or especially as gifts because it works up so quickly in a bulky weight yarn. So love it. Now we will move on to the next crochet project, and then the final one is a cardigan, so I'm saving that one. This one is living in a tote bag that says so much yarn, so little time. Isn't it the truth? What is living in here is a doll pattern, which I am hopeful I can get done for my niece for Christmas, but now I don't even know. It's the Marine, Adeline, Emily, and Candace doll. That's what she looks like. You cannot get this pattern on Ravelry. I think you can only get it on Etsy, and it's by Doo Toy Shop. However, that's the link. She has apparently 2 Etsy shops, and I got confused when I bought this pattern, and so did someone else, because her normal, if you search Doo Toy Shop, it comes up with her regular one, which is like pre-made items, and then she has a Doo Toy Shop 2 where you can get patterns, which is very confusing to me, but I did manage to get the pattern. This is the version that I'm making for my niece, except that I am going to do purple pants, just like this doll, a mint skirt, a blue shirt, a mint collar, and hot pink hair and hot pink shoes. That's my plan anyways. All of this is random acrylic that I had in my stash. This is the body color. It is the only, still attached. It's the only remotely skin colored yarn that I have. I have no tan or brown or chocolate or white or anything like that. All I have is bright colors in black, like actual black, not black the color of someone's skin. So I'm going to have to rectify that. I just did not want to go to Joann's. And this I figured was fine because she's 18 months old. Plus she is Caucasian, so it's totally fine. I will be making some dolls for this baby in the future, and I want her to have dolls of all colors. So I will have to rectify that situation. But for now, this is totally fine. This is the beginning of a foot. This is how much a foot is, and I'm now ready to make her purple pants, which will be in this color. So I have 1 foot, and I'm ready to start the leg. I have 2 arms, and they have their tails still attached. So I managed to finish 2 arms, and I have finished the head, none of these are stuffed. Probably should be stuffing them, but I'm using a 4mm crochet hook. This fabric is extremely tight, which I need it to be, and I very rarely make amigurumi because it hurts my hands on a normal day. I haven't touched this in quite a while, probably a whole week, because my hands have been killing me. That's why I said I don't know if I can get this done for her for Christmas or not. I did order her a different Christmas present online just in case I cannot get this done. And you know what? If I can get it done, then she'll have 2 presents and she can be spoiled. Good for her. So I did the whole head, 2 arms, and a foot. And so this is the purple for her pants. This is the mint color for her skirt and her collar. This will be, and those were both Red Heart, I think, random Red Heart. This will be the blue for her shirt color, which is a Sincerely yarn that I got at Joann's so long ago that they don't even make this yarn anymore. And then I have some hot pink Vanish Choice for the shoes and for the hair. So she will be coming over tomorrow, although she's not gonna know, obviously, what I'm working on if I'm working on this when she's around. But I don't really want her mom to see either. I want it to be a surprise, so I probably won't be working on this tomorrow, but I don't know. I hope I can get it done in time. I wanted to be further along because it was a goal of mine to be further along before this baby comes, but I just don't know if that's going to be possible. The tight gauge is really killing me. So I have been spending the bulk of my time on a fingering weight project, living in a Halloween bag, which was made by Smith of Crochet Cakes, and it has a lovely enamel pin from Claudia of Crochet Luna. It says, "Crochet friends are the best friends," and that is true. What is living in here is a pin. And I don't know if I can find, I have this so sorted perfectly so that I can find my place. It is the Chelsea cardigan, which is a pattern by Vicky Chan. And I actually am really, really impressed with my progress on this. I'm tooting my own horn. So let's see. This yarn is Knit Picks Hawthorne Fingering, which is 100% some kind of yarn. Let's see. 100% superwash fine Highland wool, so it's not merino. It's Highland wool, 20% nylon. 357 yards for 100 grams. This is their graffiti speckle colorway, which they do not make anymore. I have 3 balls of this, and I have 1 more ball that I got on a D-stash, which I'm going to show you. This, I'm going to compare. You can kind of see that this one's darker. This is the one I bought off of Ravelry on someone's D-stash. I am not sure, because I haven't unraveled it, if it's actually darker because this is quite bright, or if it's just dirty. Like, I was trying to poke through it to see if it was whiter underneath. I think I actually need to reskein this and give it a soak. It looks like it has some dog hair or something on it anyways, which of course I'm going to be allergic to. I'm allergic to everything. So this one's darker. I started to try and use this and I was like, oh, it's like visibly darker. And I don't know if it's because it is darker because it's a different dye lot. It doesn't have the tag on it. Or if it's darker because it just needs a wash. So I'm going to reskein and wash this. And then if it is darker, what I will do is use up most of the other yarn first and then fade it in. So the bottom of the cardigan will be a little darker and I don't think you'll be able to tell. This, I have used 1 full skein and part of another skein. This looks like I've used more of this skein because there's a giant hole in the middle. It's because this is what I showed you last time that I had blocked this lace, and I didn't want to rip it out because I wanted to show you the difference in the sizes. I am ripping this out because I have remade it, but I wanted to show you the lace one more time because this one doesn't look as pretty because it's not blocked. So this is how much I've done. I have completely redone, backwards, the back panel, the entire thing, and I have now done both wings, and I am ready, as we speak, to join this into one piece. I almost did it last night, but I was too tired and just couldn't do it, and my hands were hurting. So let me show you. This is the blocked back panel from the last time. And I'm going to put it, these flaps are making it difficult. I'm going to put it up against this one. Now there are a few more rows on the back panel that I made, but I basically went up 2 hook sizes. So this was made with a 4mm hook. This is made with a 5mm hook. You can see the difference in the size. There are, of course, as I said, a few more rounds on the one that I have completed, but unblocked, this is bigger than the original one that I made. So it was just, this is too small. I should have been more careful with my gauge originally, but I wasn't. And you know, it's gorgeous. It really is gorgeous, but it is going to be ripped out. I just wanted to show it to you one more time. It's going to be reattached to this skein, and then I will be using that skein for the body. So this, the way you work, and this construction is like a mind bender for me. It took me so long to figure out what she meant. This is not a beginner pattern. And perhaps it is my brain and not the pattern, because the pattern is very well written. I just could not understand what she was saying. So you make the back square first. And as you can see, it's all rumply because it is not blocked. So this is the right side. Then you make this left shoulder piece. Then you go and attach your yarn on the other side. You make a right shoulder piece. I, for the life of me, kept getting confused because, as you can see, it comes straight off the sides of the panel. And this is the neck edge up top. So I kept thinking it needed to go off the top edge, but it didn't. It needed to go off the side edge because, let's see if I can do this. This is really what it's going to look like. So this is going to, you can see that this part is straight and this part is expanding. It's going to join under here. So this is where it's going to join. And then gradually, this is going to get bigger and bigger across on both sides. So, and then I think that there is a collar border as well. So it's going to even out. It's like more like this. So it's kind of almost off the shoulders, but there is like a collar detail that you do that will pull it in just a bit. Yeah, so I wish that I had been able to join these last night so I could show you what it kind of looks like on, but I couldn't do it. So this is cool. The project that has been getting all of my attention. And I'm very excited because all I have to do is one more row, the joining row, and then I believe, as long as I'm reading the pattern correctly, it's going to be these repeats, which is like a 6-row repeat from here to here. That repeat will be all the way down the body. So there's no more fanciness. I don't exactly have this memorized, but I imagine I will by the time the project is done. That's pretty mindless. It's just double crochets, double crochet V-stitches. Yeah. So this will be great after baby crochet because it will be joined. In fact, let me look here. So once you join the body, yep, it's that 6-row repeat, and you work, I don't know how many inches, but a lot of inches, and I know that I want it to be longer than called for in the pattern, which is why I needed a 4th skein. And then you do a body edging. So you do an edging on the body and on the armholes. And I'm trying to see if I can show you what the edging will look like without giving away the crochet chart, because I don't want to give away the secret sauce. But I just dropped the pattern on the floor, and now bending over immediately cuts off all oxygen to my brain. So let's see if I recover from this. Oh God. If you've ever been pregnant and tried to bend over, you will know that that was very difficult. So here, I can kind of show you. Right here, this is the edging. I know that's a little bit blurry, but it's like a scalloped edge. So that's gonna go all the way around the bottom trim. It'll go all the way around the neck, and it will go around the armholes as well. She does have you seam up a portion of those armholes. I may not seam them. It depends on, I may not seam them till after blocking. That's what I'm gonna say, because I don't mind a large armhole on a lace cardigan. I like to feel free. So, and I may even, if I feel like it's still too far off my shoulders at that point, I may even do more edging than called for. Like I may do a pattern repeat and then do the edging. We'll see. it's not gonna be done for quite some time. I still have 2.5 balls of yarn to add to that. So those are all the things I've been working on. I have gotten a little bit of Happy Mail, and I want to show you because it is definitely yarn related. So let me get this down. The first thing that came in the mail was, of course, a present for Nova. This is a present from a lovely viewer of this podcast named Lisa, who is Key Alexandria, and she's been a long time viewer of this podcast, and she wanted to make a sweater for this baby, and it is the cutest. This, I think, is the flax sweater by Tin Can Knits, because I recognize this garter detail on the sleeve. And this is actually a self-striping yarn that she used for the collar or the yoke. Words. And you know what I love about it the most? It smells so sheepy. I love this little sweater so much. And it is from Gauge Dye Works. That is the yarn. So this is a 6 to 12 month size, which is totally fine because it means it will fit her next year. It's so cute. It's so cute. I absolutely love it. I cannot wait until she's here and she can wear it. Thank you, Lisa. And then a package showed up just a day or two ago from a lovely viewer and patron of this podcast named Ruth, and it's probably one of the most unique packages I've ever received, and also one of the most special, and you will see why in a second. So I don't even know how to begin. So she lives in Vermont. The first thing she sent was actual maple syrup, which there were 2 of these, but one of them already got opened, so it's in the fridge. So it's pure Vermont amber grade A maple syrup. Oh, so exciting. So one of those has already been broken into. I'm having a very hard time putting this box on my lap on account of I do not have a lap because my belly is in the way. And some little shirts for the baby, which these are the 6 to 12 month size. So those are delightful. And this, I'm gonna pick up. She made a little vest, top / dress for the baby. It's so cute. So it's all stockinette striped, and then it has this little garter ridge at the bottom, and it has this little shirt underneath. But of course, anything could be underneath, a onesie or whatever. So I thought it was a dress when I first opened it, and then I was like, oh, it's kind of like a shirt because it has a shirt underneath, but when she's smaller, it'll be a dress, and when she's bigger, it will be a shirt. Because I think this will fit her for quite a long period of time. Like, I could totally see my 18-month-old niece fitting into this right now. It's adorable. Totally adorable. But that's not all. I'm gonna have to move this box. It will go crashing down. So Ruth lives on a farm, like a little farm in Vermont, and has some sheep, which, very cool. But their farm is called Sunrise Hill Farm, and the sheep that she has actually get shorn, and she sends the wool to a local mill to her who spins it, and she sent me some of the yarn from her own sheep from her own farm. And that is crazy. This is all natural wool. So this is the colorway Raven. This is all worsted. So it's a 3-ply, 100 grams, 200 yards. This is Raven. This is milk chocolate. And this is cream. And it seems like it's pretty natural to me. These are the most gorgeous. They're definitely woolly wool. Like, they're not superwash, is what I mean by that. Actually, it says DK. So 200 yards for 100 grams. DK, worsted. We'll see how it works up. I think this would be the most magical project together. These are going to go in my treasure box. I have a little fuzz. I have a little chest that my husband got me a while ago for Christmas, and in it are my most treasured skeins of yarn. These are going in there. They're going to live in there in a plastic bag so that no bugs can get them until I have the perfect project for this, because they must stay together and they must have the perfect project. I could not bear the thought of these beautiful skeins of yarn being just some random project that would be outrageous. So this is crazy. I like squealed when I pulled them out of the package. And then I read her card and I was like, I'm sorry, these came from your sheep on your farm where you live? What? I was so blown away. So these are very, very cool. But that's not all. She also sent some slippers and they have stuff on them because I've been using them. Now, these are crocheted and then felted. So there's like a double layer on the bottom. Then they're crocheted, and then after they were felted, she needle felted a sheep on each side. So this is the right foot, this is the left foot. And I have never had such a thing in my life before. But let me tell you a story. So I have officially not made it through my pregnancy without getting swollen. Now I have made it almost to the end. I made it till month 9. However, all of a sudden, I mean, I had plenty of other symptoms, right? Like constant nausea, exhaustion. It's been a nightmare. But being swollen was not one of my problems until 2 weeks ago. And now it is a massive problem. Like half my shoes don't fit. My feet are killing me. My hands are killing me. I'm very swole. Luckily, it will go away very soon. But for now, I have not escaped this pregnancy without getting giant sausage feet. And they just hurt. And when I pulled these out, I immediately put them on my feet because they're so cozy, so warm, so soft, so squishy. And I have worn them 3 days in a row. I'm about to wear them again as soon as this podcast is over. And I get changed out of my clothes, from my work clothes into my pajamas. These are the best. And I sent her a message and I was like, you don't understand that my fat sausage pregnancy feet are so excited about these slippers because they fit around them. They don't squeeze them. They keep them nice and warm. And for some reason, it just makes them feel better all around. Wool just makes my feet feel better. And I have even noticed, like, I've tried to put on my wool socks and they're like a little tight. They're not comfortable because my feet are fat and giant and swollen right now, which will only last for another few weeks. These will fit me when my feet are not swollen. But I will just tell you that these have been making my entire week better. My entire week. These slippers. In fact, I'm going to hold them this way so you can see the sheeps. So yeah, definitely one of the most unique packages I've ever received and one of the most delightful. Oh, excuse me, hiccups again. I thank you, Ruth. And thank you, Lisa. What a so much yarny, fun surprise. I'm so excited. And I don't have it yet. I did order months ago. There are 2 things that I try to save up for each year, a little bit of money at a time. One of which was a new tradition that I started last year. So I did it this year as well. I just saved a few dollars, a little bit of money all year long, a little bit of my pattern sales so that I could get a yarn advent calendar. So that should be coming. I don't have it yet. It hasn't arrived, but I know it will be arriving this week sometime. So I imagine I'll get it on Saturday. I was able to support a BIPOC maker in this yarn advent calendar. Last year I got a homespun house advent calendar, which was beyond expectations. Like, it was so gorgeous. This year I'm getting one from 5 Burrow Yarns, and it was the most magical thing last year to open a tiny little bag that had a 20-gram skein of yarn in it every day in December. And I know that for some of the days in December I won't be opening because I'll be in the hospital having a baby. But I'm really, really excited about this. And hers was less expensive than the homespun house one. So I would say if you're going to get, don't get weird on me, okay? We're going to talk about money for a second. If the homespun house advent calendar, I think the one that I purchased last year was like $200. And basically what you get for that is 24 20-gram minis and 1 full skein of yarn, plus a few other goodies that are thrown in there. So is it possible for me to just make that purchase on any given day? 100% no, like absolutely not. Which is why I try to save a little bit each month. And I have barely bought anything this year, no yarn, nothing, because 2020, y'all. And I was very concerned about my job for quite some time. Thankfully, I still have one. My husband changed jobs. There's a pandemic on. There's just been all kinds of stuff going on. And so money has been, So luckily I started saving last year for this. So in the scheme of things, $200 is not that much money, but like it is all at once. So that was about what the homespun house calendar cost. I think that the one I bought this year was like $185, possibly, plus shipping. So I ordered that months and months ago. So that should be coming soon, and I will show you certainly the mini skeins as they come in. The other thing I save money for each year is the Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted campaign, which happens every November, and it usually kicks off this week or the week before, something like that. And basically everybody uses the hashtag Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted. They post wishes that they want. You get to scroll through, you grant someone's wishes, someone else's wish, then you get to post a wish of your own. This year, it's not really working. And the reason it can't work is because Instagram is blocking recent hashtags. So I don't know if it's happening in the UK, I don't know, or around the world. Your hashtags may not be blocked, but in the US, all of our recent posts do not show up under hashtags because to prevent the spread of election misinformation is what it keeps saying. But like, it's been doing that for a month and a half, 2 months now. So the Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted campaign can't work because you can't scroll through the hashtag and find wishes to grant. It only shows you the most popular posts, which of course have already been granted, or people doing reverse wishes. I love to participate in that every year. And if you want to find more information about it, you have to go on Instagram and do your own research. I am not the source of information for Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted. I just love that it happens. And so I try to save a little bit of money, like $100, $125-ish. All year long, I try to get to that amount so that I can dig through my stash, grant people's wishes if I happen to have what they're looking for. And I use the money that I have saved for shipping costs because shipping is expensive. And my goal for the last 3 years has been to grant 20 wishes. Last year I was actually able to grant 30 wishes, some of which were pattern wishes. So I basically try to save that amount of money throughout the whole year so that when this happens, I can actually make it work. Mail some stuff, grant pattern wishes, etc. But of course it's not working this year. We'll have to pick it up again next year. So what I did instead is I took that money. I didn't want to just buy random stuff with it or put it back in the thing to pay bills because it was for something specific. So I took that and went on Lady Dye Yarn's website. Now, Lady Dye Yarns is a fabulous dyer and activist, and she's just incredible. She does all kinds of stuff, and she does a lot of yarn clubs. So she has a Winterpalooza box, which is not going to ship until the end of February, but it is coming. I think the price was $125 exactly, which was the amount I had saved for shipping and other things for Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted. And the box is entirely made of Black, Indigenous, people of color makers. So everybody who is participating in this box is a person of color, which I am thrilled to support. I like to support Lady Dye Yarns anyways. Oh my God, I'm so out of breath. All this talking is making me so out of breath. So I think what you get in that box is 5 skeins of yarn by various hand dyers, 2 project bags, some knit and crochet patterns, some stitch markers, and some tea, possibly. So I took that money, put it towards that, which I feel like is a very worthy cause. And when that comes in at the end of February, I will certainly share some of those goodies with you. So I am sure I will send along some knit patterns as prizes, perhaps some of the yarn, one of the project bags. So that will be shared so that in the spirit of getting your yarn wishes granted, that will be shared back with the community. And I got to support a lovely, fabulous maker who is supporting even more fabulous makers, which is just delightful. So I guess it's time for the last bump date. Possibly the last bump date you will ever see, unless the baby does not come and is late, in which case you will get one more. So I'm going to get up so you can see the giant belly that is happening. I don't even know if I can fit it in the screen. In fact, I'm going to move the camera back. This is what we have going on. It is quite a thing, honestly. It's really out there. There's nothing I can do. It's just in the way all the time. I am uncomfortable all the time. My abs don't work. I can't sit up. I can't breathe. My feet are swole. My fingers are swollen. I'm still nauseous. Nauseous. Ugh, that was a weird way to say that word. I'm still nauseated almost all the time. I still have to take all my pills a bazillion times a day, or things go terribly, terribly wrong. I certainly am over it 1,000%. I'm going to scoot back and bring you closer to me again. Sorry if that was really loud. I unequivocally can say that I hate being pregnant. And please don't come in and tell me that I look delightful and that I'm glowing, because honestly, I feel like garbage. And I may look positive to you right now. Well, that's because I've had a lot of sugar today. And also I am feeling positive, but it's not because I'm enjoying being pregnant. It's because I know that the light is at the end of the tunnel. Like, I am counting the days. The due date is December 12th. It is November 25th right now. So yeah, 2.5 weeks. That's it. Possibly 3.5 weeks if she's late, but they don't let you go too far over, anymore. So I can see that there's an end to this. Whereas a few months ago, it felt like there was never going to be an end and I was going to be this way forever. So I am very, very ready to evict her out of my body. I'm ready to not be sick anymore. I'm ready. I'm sure that there will be a myriad of new things that I will have to complain about, but I do not enjoy being pregnant at all. Pretty much the only thing I like is feeling her kick. And honestly, that's kind of painful now because she is out of room. So when she really kicks, like, it hurts. So all that to say, so what? Like, if you don't have kids, or if you have an experience where you have hated being pregnant, this is just a statement for you. Hating being pregnant does not mean you're not going to be a good mom or a good parent. I think I will be fantastic. I'm sure I will have my struggles just like everyone else, but I think I'm allowed to hate being pregnant and still very much love this baby, who I so desperately want. Very, very much. And she is so loved by me, by all of you. It's eternally overwhelming to me that I think we have everything we need. And I'm as ready as I can be. I mean, the hospital bag is packed. The nursery is set up. I have one pile of clothing right over here that I just need to organize into different sizes, but everything has been washed and put away. Diaper bag is packed. I have to install the car seat in the car, but we'll do that tomorrow probably, or Friday. Yeah, it's crazy. It's happening. It's really happening. As I mentioned last time, I'm gonna actually have 6 weeks of maternity leave instead of 4, which is, I'm not gonna talk about again because I will cry. I'm very emotional. But that is the most wonderful gift of all time that I could receive. And that is very specially thanks to all of the people who have supported me on Patreon this year. You're giving me an extra 2 weeks to recover at home and to be with my newborn baby, which is, I can't talk about right now. I really, really can't. And like, I don't even have anything to nest with. Like, it's all done. It's all done. Even the Christmas decorations are put up. My husband helped me put those up last weekend. Even though, rookie mistake, I put the Christmas lights on the tree before I plugged them in and tested them. Should not have done that, because of course one of the 3 strands was not working. So I had to take them off the tree and then go out and buy a new strand. And we're at the point where we have to get a new Christmas tree for next year. I know some of you are very like, must be a real Christmas tree. We don't do real Christmas trees in our house. But the Christmas tree that we have, I'm very, very sentimental about. So growing up, my family never had a Christmas tree in our house. There was always a Christmas tree at my grandmother's house, which I got to put up every year, which was super exciting, but we never really had one in our house except for this little itty bitty one. And one year my mom and I were in Walmart after Christmas, and they had this tree on sale, 6 foot tall tree for $30, I think. So we brought it home and it was our tree for a couple of years. And then I got with my husband and it got to come with me. So it's been our tree the whole time we've been married. So this tree is probably 15 years old. The base is cracked because it's plastic. So it's been held together with duct tape every year. We kind of wedge it into the corner. But so you can't tell that something's wrong with it. But if it's standing out by itself, you can tell that it's like leaning. If you push it, it would fall over. So it's kind of a hazard. And I still rig it every year. Like, it's been broken for probably 4 years and I will still make it work every year. But now it's at the point where some of the branches are falling apart because, I mean, it's lived a really good life. Just some of the, you know, when you fluff the branches, like they're snapping off left and right, it's dropping needles. And it's still a gorgeous, lovely little tree that I love very much and am very attached to. But we are gonna have to get a new tree next year because by then the baby will be mobile. And if she even pulls it, it's gonna just collapse. So I was thinking about having to buy a new tree while putting up this tree. And I was literally like crying my eyes out. Pregnancy, y'all. I'm so emotional. So yeah, I guess this is the last year of the tree. The $30 Walmart tree that I'm so attached to. And I do this with a lot of things. Like, I will rig it or fix it in any way that I possibly can to avoid throwing it out until it is dead, beyond dead. In fact, the shoes I'm wearing right now have a hole in them because I refuse to throw them out because they're comfy and I love them and you can't really see the hole from up here. I will fix things 1,000 times. Like my lunchbox. I've had the same lunchbox to take to work literally the whole time my husband and I have been married, and I have super glued it. This week was the 3rd time. I don't know that it's gonna make another super gluing. I'm gonna have to probably buy a new lunchbox next year, but I will use things until they literally disintegrate. So it's very difficult for me about this tree. But I have 1 more year of enjoying it, and of course, the best present in the world, this baby will experience the tree. She won't remember, but I'll remember. And we got the other thing that makes me so happy is we got stockings, which we haven't really hung stockings because we don't have a mantle or a fireplace or anything like that. We live in Florida, come on. And I had my childhood stocking somewhere. I don't know where it is. But Josiah never had a stocking really. Not in the time we've been married. But now we have 3 stockings. We have one that has an H on it, one that has a J on it for him, and one that has an N on it for Nova. And we got those little command hooks that you can stick on the wall without hurting the wall. And so there's 3 stockings hung in our living room. And every time I see them, I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful. So, all that to say, I have a lot of emotions. And this baby is physically hurting me. Like right now, she's kicking me so hard and keeping me from being able to breathe and keeping me from being able to eat chicken nuggets. It's been months. I can't eat chicken. I can't eat beef. I can't eat anything spicy. Get out of my body, please. I'm really dying for some spicy nuggets. So there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And I really hope, I mean, I know you're watching this after Thanksgiving, but I really hope that you had a wonderful Thanksgiving if that's something you celebrate. Even if you were by yourself or if you were with close friends or close family. My parents are definitely coming over, but they live locally and we've seen them throughout this whole pandemic. And my brother and his wife are coming over. So there will be 6 of us total plus the baby. But like I said, we live very close and they're kind of in our bubble. So not worried about that at all. Yeah, we're going to cook a ham. By cook a ham, I mean put a ham in the oven because it requires 0 work. And am I cooking? No. I'm going to put the ham in the oven and I'm going to chop up some potatoes to make mashed potatoes. My husband is making green beans and his famous mac and cheese, and I got some of those canned crescent rolls. I'm not cooking dessert. I am not making green bean casserole. I am not doing gravy or stuffing, or I'm not doing any of that because I do not have the energy. I'm just very excited to have tomorrow off and Friday off from work. I don't get days off. I have 1 week of vacation, finally, but that is going to be used when the baby comes. So there will be no days off pretty much from now until forever. And it is really wearing, like it wears me out to never have a day off. So I'm very excited to have 2 days off of work in a row. That's crazy. So I feel like I'm just rambling now because I don't want to go. But I should go. I should let you go. And I hope that you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope that the holidays are not painful for you and that you can find some joy. I would love to know, what are you most thankful for this year? Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you're working on, what you're most thankful for this year. What I'm most thankful for this year is, of course, this baby and being able to spend an extra 2 weeks of maternity leave with her. And yarn and you guys. So that's all I'm going to say, because of course I'm going to get emotional. So until I see you again, happy crafting. Hopefully I'll see you in 2 weeks. Otherwise, you'll see me when I post a vlog showing you a tiny baby. Happy Thanksgiving, friends. Bye.